All right, Todd Grasley from DyeStat and runnerspace, and we're here with Marcelo Mantecon, one of the top sophomores in the country on one of the top teams in the country, Belen Jesuit. Marcelo, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me here.
Yeah, and this isn't our first time talking. We're like long lost friends. I feel like we do this, once a year at this point. But this past weekend, something you hadn't done in your career, you won your first individual state championship, 14:57.8, second fastest in state meet history behind only Patrick Kuhn, who's now at Stanford. Such a huge milestone for you individually. What does this achievement mean for you?
It means a lot personally and like historically because only a few alumni have ever won a state championship. So I'm glad to join one of those few. And also, my teammate Josh Ruiz, he never won one, so it's good to win one for him. He was at my race and he watched me, so it was nice to have him there.
Yeah, and we talked about those guys that have come before you that have won state titles in an elusive company. Another thing that enriched in this history, your team scored 20 points at state. I think it was the third lowest score in Florida history. Just how did it feel to be such a part of a dominant performance, not just individually, but with your teammates as well?
It's awesome having such a great coach to help us get to where we want to be, and that's all I just want to be thankful to God and my coach and my teammates for nonstop hard working, waking up early in the morning and doing a run, even when they don't want to.
Yeah, I mean, you look at this group, they averaged 15:28 on that Appalachia Regional Park course, probably one of the most difficult courses in the state of Florida. 42-second spread throughout the team, but the 2 through 5 runners separated by just 6.5 seconds. We always talk about that sea of navy and gold. How important is it for your team to run so close together, and how Belén is really built on that pack mentality?
My coach always emphasizes running in a group. We always do our long runs together, so running together in a race is no different. We always help each other and bring each other up in the races.
Yeah, both you and your team achieved great success at states. How do you carry that momentum into this weekend's NXR Southeast Regional?
Running states was and doing so good there was definitely a great confidence booster, and it's gonna help us do good at NXR and hopefully qualify to NXN.
Yeah, you look at this off season, and a lot of great teams. You watch the Tom Brady videos, and the hard work is put in the off season, right? This year, you guys spent 24 days, over 3.5 weeks training in Scottsdale. How did that experience help you guys bond, and how did it help prepare you for the rigors of this season?
It helped us bond because it wasn't only the top seven where like only the top seven is important. Like everybody's important on our team. Like we bring each other up. Like our seventh man, he's always getting chased by our eighth man. So we push each other to do better, and it's like friendly competition. It's awesome.
And just training out there in the terrain of Scottsdale, where elite distance runners train. How did that help you prepare for some of the obstacles you're going to see this season?
It definitely helps us like acclimate to like different weathers and temperatures. And also it helps us mentally. Like it's like we're like something big, like being able to do something so great for a month.
Yeah, and when we talk about training, Florida is relatively flat. What does training look like for this Belén team? And I know you guys have a Nike hill. For those who may not know what that entails, what kind of workouts do you do on that, and how does that help simulate that elevation that most of the state doesn't get to see?
We don't really use an IKEA. We go to this other place with a big 200-meter hill, and we just do a few workouts there. And yeah, consistent training is the key to whatever we do.
Yeah, last year, you didn't have much time to train. NXR Southeast came immediately after the state meet. This year, you have a full week to prepare. How has that extra time kind of helped you guys train and get mentally prepared? Talk about last year, having that quick turnaround versus this year having a little bit more time?
I mean, last year was miserable. Me and Josh had the flu, so that was a tough race to go through. Tough 2 races, and this year is a lot better because, well, first of all, everybody on the team is healthy, with a few like pains here and there, but we'll get through it. And then it's also better mentally because it's not like race after race where your mind is clouded with a ton of different thoughts about what could happen since you're tired from the first race.
What does this week look like training wise? What are you guys doing? How are you guys preparing for that North Carolina course?
Nothing too crazy, like nothing that's gonna gas you out. We're trying to do good at this race, and then hopefully we make it to NXN.
I mean, I'm kind of tapping in a little, Marcelo. Can you give us a workout or two that you're doing to prepare?
Uh, I don't. My coach hasn't told me what workout we're doing yet, but maybe I'll let you know when I get that.
All right, keeping it close to the vest. I know. Frankie's probably over there in another room looking at you, saying, "Yeah, no, we're not giving those secrets away." Um, Competing against the best teams from the Southeast, it's always a big deal. What are you and your teammates looking forward to most about this trip and running at Wake Med Soccer Park in Cary, North Carolina?
What we're looking most forward to is just running together and finding gold on that course. It's super fun to run on that course. I think like that final hill is a huge mental battle, so we're all like super excited and ready for it.
What do you think the keys are for this team on this course? Well, what are those pivotal moments where, hey, if we want to see success, we probably should do X, Y, and Z on Saturday.
My coach says to look at the 3 and 4K and not zone out there. So that's what we're gonna try working on. It's a downhill there, so we're gonna try running as a pack there.
Yeah, well, in practice, like what do you guys do to keep that pack mentality? I know a lot of teams say, oh, we want to run as a pack. That's our strength. How do you guys form such a tight pack? Is it the brotherhood? Is it specific training? What is it that makes you guys so close? Is it the competitive nature that everybody wants to be that top dog in that number one spot?
I feel like we do everything together as a pack. Like I run with them every single day of the week, and like being able to know exactly what my friend can do is gonna help me. Saying like, oh, if my friend is next to me, I should go faster or slower, or stay with him, or push him to be faster.
How does that help in a big race, knowing, hey, you might be a little bit in the lead, but you can look over your shoulder and 5 or 6 seconds back, you see, 4 or 5 of your teammates right there.
It makes me super happy to see all my teammates like right behind me because it shows that we're doing good in the race, obviously, and that they're like right behind me if I'm there to like fall if I fall or something, or if I have a bad race.
And hopefully that doesn't happen. But your team won NXR Southeast last year. What's it like coming in knowing that you have the target on your back and all of the other teams are coming for you? I mean, that's the same way it's been all season in the state of Florida. Is it nothing new? Do you like that feeling that everybody's gunning for you? What's the mindset?
It's definitely a little bit of a scary feeling, but it's like a nice competition and a nice thing to think about when people like look up to you or like want to beat you. But we have to stay humble and race like you're bad, I guess, or I mean train like you're bad.
I, I love it. And you look at, Belén hasn't been bad in a long time, a long tradition of excellence, 16 state titles, 8 consecutive state championships. How does that history motivate you and your teammates to stay hungry? I know Coach Ruiz always says, hey, we're running for the last guy. We're running for the last state champion. We're running for the last team that won state. We're running for the last team that made regionals. We're running for the last team that won that made it to the nationals, and we're trying to follow in those guys' footsteps. Just what is that history and that tradition when you come to Belén? How is that motivating?
It's motivating because you're not really like you're also running for the last guy, but you're also running for the people ahead of you. Like people look up to you in the future, and like we have a middle school, so the middle schoolers want to be like us, and showing a good example is amazing. It feels amazing for them.
You've been a part of some great teams at Belen Jesuit. Obviously, last year's team, was fourth at Nike Nationals. The team before that, 14th. You've been a part of a run of state titles. Where does this year's squad rank among the best in program history? It's almost like Belén never rebuilds; they're always reloading.
Yeah, I've heard that before. Being able to reload and like is such a great feeling because we have such a great coach, Frankie Ruiz. I'm super grateful for him, and it's just consistent training and being hungry for the next step.
What has it been like being a part of this program? Being one of the leaders. Last year you were a freshman. Before that, you were an eighth grader. You were the new stud on the team. But there's a lot of upperclassmen. But to be a sophomore leader, what has that role been like for you?
I'm very blessed to be a leader of such a great team, and I like being a leader. It it hmm, hold on.
Is it a little different being one of the guys that's learning from a Joshua Riaz or some of those other guys that follow that are now in college, or is it hey, we're all I'm my leadership is different, now I'm one of those guys that the guys looks up to.
I feel like being a leader is mutual. Like I could still learn from like slower people or like people that aren't as fast as me. And like for example, like if I'm cocky and someone else is humble, like I'd rather be humble because it's a better example to be. So
Absolutely, and that's one thing. The Belen Jesuit program, Frankie Ruiz, all the guys usually, humble, uh, carry themselves with class. What are your personal and team goals for this weekend? And if you qualify ultimately for Nike Nationals in Oregon?
uh our main team goal for NXR is to win and have a tight spread 1 through 5. And then if we make it to NXN, hopefully, maybe have a podium, maybe win. And yeah, just for me, my goal is to be a low stick and reliable runner for my team.
2 years ago, we talked about this. You were 14th. Last year, fourth. What did you take away from those experiences at the national level, and what will it take to win it all in December?
Being able to, I think what's gonna be the difference between uh, like a podium or and first place is the spread from 2 to 5. There's a lot of people that come in later on in the race, like so like 5 seconds would be like 10 places. So if we keep our back all the way to 5 really tight, I feel like that would be what would give us a championship.
Take me inside the huddle. It's Saturday morning. Fast forward 5 days from now. What does Frankie Ruiz tell you guys before this race on Saturday?
To hit the board, if you're having a bad race, don't make it a horrible race and try to recover from whatever happened to you.
To have a coach like him, and he's one of the winningest coaches in Florida history. A guy that's been there, with the team back in, I believe it was 2011. To have him by your side, not just you personally, but the team, to mentor you and guide you, not just through, districts, regionals, and another state championship, but on the national stage as well. How beneficial it is to have a guy like that in your corner.
Having a guy like Frankie Ruiz in my corner is awesome. He's super experienced. He's been through it all. He was eighth man one time in his first state team. He used to be in high school in Belén, so he's been through it all. He knows what everybody's feeling, and he could connect with us easily and give us good advice.
For those of who might not know about Belen Jesuit or about this running program, finish this sentence. Belen Jesuit is blank.
Um, Consistent. I'm not sure.
Consistent. Hey, You guys are consistent. 8 consecutive state championships, 16 in program history. They're looking for their 3rd consecutive trip to Nike Nationals. We're going to see Marcelo and the rest of his team at NXR Southeast this weekend. We'll have all the coverage on DyeStat and runnerspace as well. Marcelo, always a pleasure speaking with you, covering Belen Jesuit as well, one of the classiest programs in the sport. Best of luck this weekend and the rest of the postseason as well.
Thank you, Todd. Thank you for having me.